but whatever the fuck they had 2 days ago when it wasn't this playlist, it was absolutely miserable. And now it was actually kind of like enjoyable. So they better fucking keep this playlist, because this is coming from someone like me who plays a lot of games. Like, what if you don't play a lot of games? Are you just like, would you just be fucked if this playlist didn't exist? I don't know.
Under Call of Duty and even playing it in this matter, as they will make their time for Battlefield 6. This is a big problem for content creators and everyone working in the video game industry, as it means thousands of people could potentially lose their job. When I mean that, I'm including content creators which are earning ad revenue from YouTube. Might I remind you, for example, what happened to Battlefield 2042? 90% of the content creators for Battlefield did not survive. Will the same happen for Call of Duty? I don't think so. Call of Duty comes out every year, but you know, opinions like this, people not being happy vocally when thousands of people are watching, is a very clear sign that Call of Duty right now is struggling quite a bit. I'm not a big COD enjoyer, but whatever they had 2 days ago was miserable. Personally, I didn't feel like that. But if one of the big streamers thinks like that, I'm pretty sure a lot of other players are thinking that way, and I'm sure a lot of other content creators are thinking the same. Call of Duty has an uphill climb, so-called Sisyphus rock, to make it back where it was. But I am releasing some videos on what they are doing to actively combat these cheaters that cost them millions of dollars of damage. I'm your host, Central, and I will keep you reported with more news. But can people just be honest about the fact that they're going against people worse than them, and we could stop all this charading? Now nerf aim assist. Yeah, no. And players like this, because they can beat up on players with less skill than them, which really means they're at their core. So a lot of players are saying that, you know, he is not going to be in the game because there's a lot of good players there, if I understand that correctly. But obviously not. Shroud is a very, very good pro player that, you know, even went pro in the past. And here's the real thing. A lot of content creators feel like it's a risk to play Call of Duty right now if it might be dead for a very big while until that new big Warzone Call of Duty map comes out and there's a lot more content. What do you guys personally think? I feel like that, you know, the beta is all right. It's nothing special, but it could be improved. And we're going to be seeing more on the...
Get me off of it. I think it's pretty clear Battlefield 6 beta experience compared to this Black Ops 7 experience. I mean, it ain't even fucking close.
Are obviously disappointed with Black Ops 7, of course, because Black Ops 7 is a Modern Warfare 4 waiting room. But guess what? The beta has only begun, and does Battlefield 6 have zombies? No. The multiplayer yeah, it's fine. It's okay. The COD Next event, people hated it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to defend it, but what I saw, you know, from streamers, personally, I liked it. I know a lot of streamers were very disappointed we didn't get a new Warzone map, which is, you know, it's a big mess up to the Warzone, you know, and what are the streamers gonna eat for 8 months? So they're just going to have to wait and find some content. So think about it, someone that does this full time. Basically, I hope we get a ton of content. I hope they have something planned. And I believe they do. They are almost $1 billion, if not more, company. Each of their games costs, what, 300 million, 500 million to make. Basically like a Marvel's Avenger movie. But going back to the point of Dr. Disrespect, this is not over. We saw the same with Battlefield 1 and Advanced Warfare. So this is the big problem here. A lot of people are expecting Battlefield, 6 to actually dominate. No, this is the first game they're going to dominate. They're probably going to win this battle between Call of Duty and Battlefield 6. But look at the other 3 games. Battlefield 2042, complete flop. Battlefield 1 was the best game probably they did in history and also underperformed compared to Call of Duty. So I think in long term, it's not going to hurt that much. Battlefield just put all its eggs in one basket now, because if literally this game failed, they would have to go bankrupt. They would have to stop making Battlefield games. But that's why streamers are saying this is true. Battlefield is in fact better in this beta stage. It probably will have even more players. That's why Activision had to double down on releasing zombies for beta. Here's the real thing here. This is just the betas we're talking about. It's like preschool, And when you get in college, this is where things really start to matter. So you guys understand that what we are seeing right now is just the start of it. It's just the start of a big 10-year battle that's going to be happening in Battlefield history. So if Battlefield sales do well, you better pray, because we finally got SBMM removed. Again, this is something that needed 5 years. They could have just added a feature for it. They could have just added an option. They don't have to fully remove it as YouTubers claimed, but now they had to add, a separate thing in open beta and closed beta. And again, I hate skill-based matchmaking because it matched me against literal pro. So I don't know. I think skill-based matchmaking isn't that strong.
Okay. Well, chat, as you can see, the anti-cheat didn't get updated. I mean, oh, here we go, man.
So Kai Cenat just reacted to Nick Merckx, again, one of the biggest Call of Duty streamers, on the Black Ops 7 cheats. And I feel like the big problem here is a lot of these streamers are negative about Black Ops 7, and that is for one simple reason. Yes, the game is not near perfect. Yes, it is not 100% the best one we saw out there. Is it even better than Black Ops 6? Obviously not, but there is one thing for sure here. Black Ops 7 is mostly at this scenario where hating on it actually gives you more audience and pays more than loving it. Because yes, the game obviously has faults, but I feel like this is gonna be the worst game of the year. Not even close. There are plenty of other worse games. And you have to realize Nick Merckx and Kai Cenat will still play it by the end of the day. Even if there's a ton of cheaters, these are the cheaters that are going to stay in beta and are going to be gone on full release. So what Activision is doing right now is actually very smart. They are gathering this data to ban these cheaters later on in the full game release. And there's also another reason why there is such a huge influx of cheaters. For a very simple reason. The game is free right now. It is literally free. Anyone can download, make a new account, play. Are you going to do the same thing when it's $30 a month or $80? No, exactly. And especially when the cheats are getting more advanced. Yes, the save boot isn't like, a save all, a grace, but it does prevent a lot of cheaters from playing the game. Think about it. You need to actually have a proper setup for these cheats. I'm not going to go in full detail because I cannot and I don't want to, but it is way, way harder to cheat in video games now because nobody likes cheaters. It is the one thing that nobody enjoys. And Kai Cenat, and Nick Merckx talking about this without realizing the full situation.
The game too much, but obviously we know wall balancing is a thing. Just know, bro, once you guys see this gameplay, I know I say it every year. Well, actually, no. I feel like I don't say it every year. But like this game specifically, I feel like a lot of people are gonna enjoy it. Genuinely. And I truly mean that. Even if you're not even like a movement tech person, Dale, it is the best Call of Duty of all time. Even if you're not a movement person, I think just the game itself, the way that it feels, bro, it's like a way fine tuner version of Black Ops 6 is the best way to explain it.
Look, I love Black Ops 6 content creators and I love their opinions, and don't get me wrong, I love Black Ops 7, but to compare it with Black Ops 6, why wouldn't people just play Black Ops 6? It does not feel to me like an improved version. This wall jumping, like, it feels like a completely different area, completely different setting, completely different thing. And especially when you're at COD Next, what happens if you're on the stream negative about the game? It's literally like, your boss is watching you through a camera and someone asks you, what do you think about the game? That's what we need here. A lot of content creators were not invited to COD Next for being and voicing their opinion, maybe rightfully so, maybe honestly, maybe unrightfully. And here is where I feel is the big problem. There is really no subjectivity. And once they got off COD Next, they were very vocal about this. They said, hey, Verdansk, why did we get that? We didn't ask for this. We didn't want this. We wanted a new map. We wanted a ton of content. And now we're going to have to eat basically rice and pasta for the next 5, 6, 7 months until the new Battlefield comes out, right? So this is the type that we are seeing right now. It's just not really transparent. And this is why, Call of Duty has this mixed reviews. Remember when Call of Duty used to be like all about authenticity? And yeah, I'm sure, the added features are amazing. I'm sure they're awesome. But the hate here right now, I feel like it's semi-justified. I think it's overrated. I think it's not that big of a problem as people make it to seem. But I think there's been, hatred upon Call of Duty that's been brewing, and its community of hatred against Call of Duty is growing with the new Battlefield 6, because Battlefield 6 really showed what's possible. Now, Battlefield, the problem is it literally is 9 years since Battlefield 1 2016, which I believe is one of their only profitable, projects. And I think this is the problem here. Battlefield needed 9 years to actually get themselves together. A lot of firings, a lot of letdowns. And I mean, props to them. Battlefield literally looks one of the most amazing games, in my opinion. There is a ton of factors here. And I feel like that Call of Duty is always going to be around. Even if they release, the worst game possible, I still feel it should be at least semi-profitable. I think they're going to learn from this experience. But I definitely feel like the content creators, at COD Next event telling this is the best game, I can't fully agree with you, man. This is like not super authentic, because literally 100,000 people are watching. And of course, I would feel nervous as well. You can see it literally in his body language, how nervous he is when he's talking about Battlefield, Black Ops 6. Again, not Battlefield, I meant Black Ops 6. So Black Ops 6, or Black Ops 7 for that matter, Black Ops 7 is the big thing here. There's a lot of hate for Black Ops 7. I keep mixing up all these numbers, but you get the point here, is that most content creators here right now, they are voicing their opinion. And even those who have been on the good side, never talking bad about the game, they are very vocal, because their entire livelihood is relying on what they get from the game, what type of content. And, for players, they might wait 1 year for Call of Duty, but for some people, this is a full-time income.
Because everybody else is like, people are hating, bro. You saw the reveal trailer. Brother, every single comment was, I just pre-ordered Battlefield. Thank you, guys. Pre-ordering Battlefield right now. The whole comment section, it was like a fucking war in there. But yeah, guys, no, dude, I'm just talking about COD. People think that, like, we're getting paid. I don't know where this streamer's getting paid all the time for everything shit came in, but dude, I've been playing COD for the past 13 fucking years. Probably longer than that, 15 years, whatever it is. I want the game to be good, man. Obviously. Not even because of, livelihood aside and the stream, we want the game to be good. We're going to be doing the CDL watch party. Like, you think we want to sit there every single weekend, week in, week out, and the game not be good? Fuck no. We need that shit to be good.
So yeah, I just feel like this is a huge elephant in the room that we need to talk about, that we need to address, because it's getting out of hand now. People are hating the game before it even came out. But what do you guys personally think? Smash that like button for more, and I'll keep you guys updated with more news. I think it's pretty clear why people want Battlefield 6 to succeed, because it's literally their last hope. If Battlefield 6 fails, that's it. There is no second chances. Scump is right. People are getting tired of same old. They're getting tired of price increases, and they're getting tired of everything starting to be so expensive. All these skins, video games, add-ons. Where were the times when you could just buy Black Ops 2 and everything was free, right? So here's the main strategy. It took Battlefield 10 years, about 10 years to really come back. Look at Battlefield 1, it was amazing, but it still could only get 25% off the previous Battlefield games. And here's the real thing. Battlefield cannot really afford to make any more mistakes. They made mistakes with Battlefield 5, they made mistakes with Battlefield 2042, and let's not talk about Battlefield Hotline, which I personally think is an amazing game, but it's so niche that it flopped. So here's the real thing. Battlefield cannot afford to make games. They can just make one every 3-4 years. But Call of Duty can literally afford it to make it every single year. And that's why they have way more sales. They convert all the money. They reinvest it. And, they also cash in on the previous Call of Duty titles. It's become a big thing. And they can stream events. Literally awesome. The reason why people are hating Call of Duty is because Call of Duty is taking the community for granted. A lot of the content creators will need to find a way to make extra income. That's what happened in Battlefield. Battlefield flopped, and a lot of the content creators needed a full-time job. They needed to wait 4 years, 4 to 5 years before we're even getting, actually 5 years before we're getting a full-time content. So in those 5 years, if you did Battlefield, the maximum you were making is like $1,000, $2,000 per month. The maximum, right? Because there was just not enough content for content creators to live off it. So Scump is really hoping it gets good here. Here's the other thing. You know, Activision is sometimes not listening to the community. They follow their own path, their own teams. And after 5 years, you know, with Warzone, people are getting really, really frustrated because some of the suggestions are really good. You know, even if they cost Activision a bit of money, I feel like they are not taking those steps to do that. And here is where it's going to be a real problem. Most of the content I'm seeing on YouTube is actually hating Call of Duty. That's the only way they can make money. And then for people, they have to look at what's going on with Battlefield, right? They have to look at if Battlefield is succeeded, if Battlefield does good, it's literally going to be one of those big games for 2025, which it is right now. Activision is going to be like, oh man, this game is pretty good. Maybe I should like look into it. You know, maybe we should add those features. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. They're taking it too easy. It's nice to go back into the Black Ops 2, but I just don't feel like this is the innovation. Remember Black Ops 2 where you would go on the bus for the first time and you were shocked and the map kept getting bigger with transit? Those were the times, right? And that's what players want. They want this type of innovation you can't get in other games. And now it's like, oh, we have wall jumps here. You can do that. And that's why players are pissed. Battlefield 6 actually did a lot of destruction. It did a lot of changing. It did a lot of investments. It's starting to look more realistic. It's not looking like a meme. And they listen to the community. Because if they didn't listen, they would literally be bankrupt. So you get the idea here is what we're seeing right now is a very big attention grab from Battlefield. Like a lot of players are going to be moving there. And this is why Black Ops is getting a lot of hate. Because all these things they got for granted, they got suddenly punched back and saw, oh man, this game is actually pretty good. You know, maybe we do have some competition. And this is the same path that Overwatch needed to do when Marvel Rivals came in. I feel like Marvel Rivals is the only game that could compete against Overwatch. And nobody could believe it. And the same is going to happen with Battlefield, and the same is going to happen with Call of Duty Black Ops 7 until Modern Warfare comes out. And the only advantage Call of Duty has right now is that they can post video games every single year. Battlefield cannot do that yet. It's literally behind like 15 or 10 years to catch up to Call of Duty level stages. So I feel like a lot of creators want to switch sides just because there's not so much content. What do you guys personally think? I'll keep you guys updated with more news. Smash that like this. At this size, definitely means something. And all creators, you know, complaining about it, voicing their concerns, you know it hit the sales. A lot of people are saying they're buying Battlefield 6 instead this year. And I even got some, you know, unsubs because Call of Duty is coming out and a lot of people are not happy. So, you know, it's bad that we are seeing the biggest change, the biggest hatred. I don't think Call of Duty was this hated for 10 years. The last time was probably Call of Duty Ghosts or Infinite Warfare. And I feel like this could have been prevented. They want us to play a game mode that is been gone for about 5 years. It's been 5 years or probably even almost 6 since, you know, Warzone came out. And they still want us to play the same map. This is like when a, you know, employee gives you fries and doesn't ask you anything. He just gives you random stuff that you never asked for. And you want a burger. You want a nice burger, but instead you're always getting some stupid veggies, right? And I'm seeing the same thing here where they wouldn't even listen. You make these small changes. Again, what small changes are we talking about? The SBMM and beta is kind of like expected and the stuff that should have come into the game, not the community having to tell them for 5 years to add it in. Here is where I see the big problem. You know, the zombies looks awesome, the game looks awesome, but the company is going a different path where the community could really listen. And I feel like this is frustrating a lot of people. How they're communicating and what they're showing to be the new features, I feel like Activision is taking the player base for granted, and I wish them best here, because obviously if Activision does well, so would be my livelihood. You make more money, right? And this is where content creators are getting afraid and actually have to speak out. Otherwise, even risking not getting invited to future events and future things, because if they do not speak out, it could literally happen that they lose a lot of money. They could lose a big chunk of their revenue, a big chunk of their salary if their games suck. And that could mean the death of their channels. That is a big problem that we saw now with the biggest channel here talking about it.
Treyarch is changing the dates of the Black Ops 7 beta, and I'm kind of wondering if they did this because they're listening to our feedback, or if they were forced. You see, towards the start of the beta, there were people like Rorato Man here who were commenting on the fact that the Steam player numbers for Black Ops 7 were really low compared to Battlefield 6. You can see towards the beginning, it peaked at 74k. Battlefield in its first day had 500,000 on Steam. Now, there are various reasons and arguments to be made for why these statistics might be in disrepute. For example, James says way more people play COD on Game Pass, and also it's a closed beta until Sunday, and the numbers are from Battlefield's open beta. But then Rorato responds saying that Battlefield was code-only access for the first 2 days, and it still hit those crazy numbers. So I think there's room for it to be argued either way, but what is undeniable, I think, is that Call of Duty is feeling the heat from Battlefield. The only reason we're getting these skill-based matchmaking changes, for example, is because of Battlefield. Like, all the COD creators have been tweeting that exact sentiment, and it's like a dream come true, like T-Dog here saying,
And you actually know it's bad when even Call of Duty creators, people who did Call of Duty for 10 years, are either A, quitting, or B, they're just doing other stuff. They're, becoming Battlefield makes Call of Duty channels. So, of course, they'll still do Call of Duty. But their main, hype for this year is probably pivoting to Battlefield. And that is a big problem. And here we're seeing the same path. A lot of people are choosing Battlefield to win that trust. Of course, with Battlefield 2042, they said, remember, no pre-orders. Remember, I'm never buying this game. Oh, forget it. This game sucks. That one single beta changed the entire mindset. Everybody had low hype for Battlefield this year. Well, this completely changed it, and this is the big problem. Call of Duty got caught off guard. They literally did not expect this level of hype for Call of Duty, and I can tell you they probably have employees to actually check the analytics and data. Again, this is $1 billion, multiple of billions of dollars we're talking about. Call of Duty is not like 2010 anymore, where it's like maybe a few developers and it's an awesome game and a publisher. This is literally becoming, someone that works with the U.S. military. That is how big Call of Duty is. That is sponsored, that is working with the government to get their stories right. I mean, this is how far advanced this is. And Call of Duty developers helping the army and stuff like that, for sure. And when you have this type of attention, you have a lot of money coming in and out. And this is the thing here. This is the big thing, is you cannot take all of this for granted. If something can be given, it can be also taken away. Attention is such a important factor. It's probably the most important thing in your life, because what's the most important currency of your life? It's time. It's not money. You can always make more money, but Battlefield and, Call of Duty doesn't realize that. Battlefield realizes that by giving that open beta. Of course, the closed beta had lower player count because it was very hard to play the early access codes, even though the early access codes were given out for free. So I'm very happy I didn't pre-order, because if you did pre-order, the main promise was the early access codes to play Call of Duty early, but instead they just gave it out for free, or it was like 10 cents to buy. So again, this just shows how low the numbers were and how quickly they changed their minds. While for Call of Duty, you watch those streamers, and I kind of like this idea to interact. This was cool from, another W for Battlefield, basically. But again, Battlefield still has a long way ahead. It might have just shown, Call of Duty what good it did.
Dream Call of Duty removed skill-based matchmaking? Someone tell me it wasn't a dream. Like, it's such a shock that they've actually done it, but there is a crazy amount of positivity around the whole thing, and it's thanks to Battlefield applying that pressure to Call of Duty. I mean, in that other post I showed you, there's even Battlefield devs. Alexia Christofi works at Battlefield, and she says, you're welcome. Like, they're fully taking the credit for it, as they should. So whether or not it's because of Battlefield pressure, we are still seeing changes to the beta, and one of the key changes, alongside the fact that they've now raised the level cap and stuff, is that, as they say in the Zombies patch notes here, it's been incredibly rewarding to see the community dive into Van Dorn during the beta. Based on your feedback, we'll be extending zombie survival for the remainder of the open beta. For those of you joining the beta today for the first time, we do not recommend any attempts to pet the bear. So, regardless of the source of it, it's happened. And I think that this is really positive. The fact that we got there somehow, even though it wasn't really an optimal path, because there was so much confusion around the zombies beta dates in the first place. First, we thought that it was coming out the same.
To be fair, nobody actually cares about when is Black Ops Zombies beta, if it's for another day or not, or ending, if it's on the 7th or 8th. Nobody cares about that. That's not going to bring 500,000 people back. I feel like a lot of YouTubers are simplifying the point here, is that it didn't bring anything super original. A lot of content creators were saying at COD Next event, this game is going to be a game changer, is going to be amazing. But when we voiced our opinion, when suddenly they got back home, they started, messing with it. They started saying, oh, this is, a big problem. We were expecting a lot of things. We went from USA, we literally flew across the world to be playing, Verdansk and Warzone. And without new maps, just with the new guns. And literally, that's the big thing. They're also taking these content creators for granted. They think it's going to be super, super easy to actually win this battle, and it's going to show them this year when a large chunk of their money is going to go towards Battlefield. So yeah, nobody cares actually about these games that they're talking about. Nobody cares about how long their beta is, or if they added SBMM. This is like adding, a small drop of water to a fire. This has been building up, and now they have to regain this trust somehow. Of course, I feel like Modern Warfare will fix a majority of these problems we're hearing about this year, but it just didn't have to happen like this. If they just at least listened to the community or added some features to listen, if they let content creators, somehow find ways to monetize their plans, this would be done much, much easier. And, I feel like this YouTuber is very much simplifying the whole problem, saying about listening to us and then starting off rocky. This is, for me, it is going to be for them a $200 million problem or multiple of millions than just adding a simple thing and saying it's fixed.
As everyone else. Then we thought that the UK blog was correct and it was going to be, the 3rd to the 5th only? Then that was wrong and something else said the 4th, and it's just been absolute chaos. So there's a world where none of that confusion enters the picture at all. That would have been ideal. But even so, the world we're in is one where there was confusion, but that confusion is now ironed out. Treyarch has listened, and we will be getting zombie survival for the rest of the beta. It's a W. It's a W with caveats, but it's still a W. And I think this is one of those things that we saw a lot in Black Ops 6 as well, where Treyarch would do something and they'd sort of start off in a bit of a rocky place, or they'd make a misstep very early on.
This is not the bigger problem that YouTubers are talking about. I feel like he's super simplifying the problem and is not honest with what he's saying. Obviously, because he's a very big channel, I would be as well, but I rather tell the truth, for a company to improve and actually listen, because that is the main problem. Like, they actually did listen on the Beavis and Butthead skins, and I honestly feel they didn't add that because people boycotted it. I feel like it didn't make enough money in that case for them to be worth it, and they found out, well, maybe Black Ops skins will sell more money. So if they were making a lot of money today, I don't think they would change that. But again, like the Halloween updates and everything like that, that's going to be canceled for November, and it doesn't make any sense to me why did anyone mention here of the YouTubers that there is going to be a big concern about Black Ops Zombies being out there for some time? No, the biggest concern was obviously about the cheaters, that they were talking, oh, this is going to be removed. And also Battlefield 6 had the same problem, I agree. It's going to stop some of the cheaters. And again, I don't feel like, this is going to be a big problem, but I just feel it's this safe boot thing. Is it making super harder to play Call of Duty for the normal person? You actually have to go into the system and change this stuff. It's not so easy as people expect. And they're taking all of this us for granted. And I would love to do it for Battlefield 6. I regret not doing it now because some people actually bricked their PC that way. But to do it for Call of Duty, I mean, what's there for us? There is a lot of problems that I hope they will fix in the future, especially, in my opinion, if any of the Activision employees listening today add a creator code. It's been 10, 15 years and we still don't have a creator code. It's been 5 years since Warzone, just like Fortnite. That would be a great way for creators to actually come back and start making tons of revenue. And it would be another thing, but they added actually the Xbox Game Pass bonus points or whatever it was, the discount. Again, and a lot of this small stuff, it adds up and it angers the community because they take it like, we won't care. Here you go. Here's an SBMM. Here's a Call of Duty Zombies beta. Yay. No, it's not going to be like that this time. And people are, preparing their pitchforks. They're raising their concern. They're not happy with what's happening. And a lot of content creators, if they talk about it, it's bad. Because, literally